Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. It is Thursday. It is time for another fantastic show. Where are you? Yes, you are also. I can see you. Just letting you know. Welcome, everyone. I'm just waiting for everyone to start popping on, the usual suspects who watch me every Thursday. And now every Friday, because tomorrow I have a show as well. So you asked for cooking as one of the topics that is on the show. I have never talked about cooking, so it will be a first for me. So we have our first guest tomorrow who's going to be coming on talking about cooking. So, and we have a whole month of that. So yeah, welcome my sister Ashley, welcome my sister Heather, who's telling me that my hair is super gray. That's very rude, and it's not gray. Thank you very much. Leave my hair alone. I'm getting old. That's not very nice. Kayla, whoop, whoop. What's up, Kayla? Welcome. Don't forget, if you're watching, please like and share this video. Everyone needs to watch something fun and entertaining, so share it. The more the shares, the better. That's what I always say. So, yeah. Kayla, Heather is rude. So we're just waiting for a couple more people. And if you are watching and you're not commenting, don't forget you can also watch this on YouTube, because we are also live on YouTube. I love YouTube. So we have I have 9 subscribers on YouTube. Why? Because everyone watches on Facebook. So, but I'll take the 9 subscribers. No worries. Daniel Payton, author Daniel Payton, is joining us tonight in the chat room as well. Welcome, Daniel. It's so nice to see you. Again, I apologize for missing your live videos, but I can at least watch tomorrow's, because I'm off tomorrow. So, but it'll be right after my show, though. So, no pressure, right? But at least this will give me the opportunity to make sure that the show stops on time at 9 o'clock so I can watch your live. So welcome. And besides that, we still need to have a chit chat about The Winter Wizard, the book, because things are changing and I have questions, sir. So I just want to make sure that we touch base on that. So I'm curious as to what's happening. So let's see. Kayla, day off. What are you doing tomorrow? I am not doing anything tomorrow. I did all of my errands today. I had some car work that needed to be done, so I was up for 9:30 for that. Driving to Pittsfield because I am in Massachusetts. I'm located in Berkshire County. It's a treat for me to go into the city, but yeah. So. And of course, I got looking at cars on the lot, which is never a good thing because I'm always in the market for a new vehicle. I think I found the one that I want, but it's a lot of money, so that will have to wait. I'll put that in the back burner. But other than that, I didn't do anything else today. Daniel Payton says bad news. Daniel, never start a sentence with bad news. I'm not having a show tomorrow. I'm leaving tomorrow for a camping trip. Oh, all right. Well, that is excusable. So I love camping. So camping is fun. My grandmother has joined us now. Welcome to my grandmother, who I've not talked to or seen in quite a while. So I do need to make my way back down there. Good old Connecticut. Who else is joining us? I have lots of people watching. So welcome, welcome, welcome. So we do have a guest tonight. He is currently watching. He's watching me. He's listening to what's happening before he comes on. So we're going to be talking to author Michael Deeze. I've been waiting for this. But I have the feeling that I spoke with him before. I just have this feeling on the last show that I did with Sherry. I swear he was a guest on that show as well. I don't know. We'll find out. So yeah, and he's going to be talking about the books all of his books. Well, we'll touch base on most of them anyways, but important being the one that just recently came out. So I'm not divulging any information, so I'm going to let him do that. But I've already posted the links to Michael's books on the Facebook page. So you can just click that little link for Amazon and it'll bring you right to his author page. You could see all of his books. Check to see if they're on Kindle Unlimited. I don't know. I'll ask him that when he comes on. But yeah, buy the books, read. There's a series. I think that's what we're going to be talking about. So yeah, make sure you do that. And don't forget, I don't stress this enough every time I guys tell you when an author comes onto the show, if you're going to purchase the books on Amazon and you've read it, please leave a review. It's very, very important. Not only is it important to the author, but it's also good for people like me who has become a big reader. And before I read the book, I read the reviews. I find myself doing that now, which is weird because I wasn't always a reader. But thanks to COVID, I've been reading nonstop. I think I have read almost since March. I think I've read 100 books so far. No thanks to Kindle Unlimited. So, Allie Scott, hello, welcome. My aunt is here as well. Hello, welcome. So, Daniel Payton says, it will be my first camping trip ever. Oh, well, I'm not exactly sure how you're camping, either in a tent or a camper. Let me know. I've done both. So, but it's going to be fun. Fun. Kalo, 100 books. That's awesome. I also got my sister into reading as well, thank God, because I've had fantastic guests on this show ever since I've started it. So I have not had one complaint from viewers or, anything bad experiences from the guest or anything. So I think I'm doing my job very well. I've been doing it for almost 6 years now, guys. So you all know you have followed me over to this one. So yeah, it's been great. So I'm pretty sure, Michael, you're going to be a fantastic guest. I can feel it. So Daniel Payton says tent. Well, not something I'd prefer. I do like maybe an air mattress or something, but I have done the whole tent thing. It's pretty cool. So there's so many things you're going to be able to do when you're camping. So I don't know if you're going to a campground or you're just doing your own thing. I don't know, but either way, I think you'll have a fun experience. So I always do. I love the outdoors. I love nature. So I don't get out enough, even though I'm surrounded by it. So yeah. So before I bring the guest on, I always ask before at the beginning of the show, what has everyone been up to since I last spoke with you, which was last Thursday. Yep. Last Thursday, we spoke with Deborah Yates, which is always fun because I've spoken to her in the past. So, and she caught on to that. So I was very happy that she did. So what has everyone been doing? Myself, working. I work 40 hours a week. Normal job. I wish I could do this full time as a job, but I can't. What have you guys been up to? I know there's a bit of a lag, so. Where is everyone? I think I'm missing a couple of people. So I know my sister has been traveling, unfortunately, long distance. So my other sister just got back from South Carolina and unfortunately is quarantining. What's everyone been up to? I got a couple of minutes before he comes on. So I just wanted to let everyone know again. Oh. I apologize, Michael. You're typing away, and I'm just getting your messages. So Michael, who is watching, as you all know, He goes camping at least once a month. I love camping. It's so fun. It really is. And Michael has mowed 4 lawns today. 4 lawns. I hope you're getting paid for that. That's a lot of lawns. I have not done mine yet. Mine needs to be done. So, but we've been getting quite a bit of rain the past couple of days. So I have not been doing as much. My sister has been not doing much. Movies for the dreary weather. Like today, it's just been ugh. And yes, she just came back from Myrtle Beach and is now quarantining. So, fantastic. So, like I said, I'm excited for tomorrow's show because technically it's the first show that I've done on Fridays now. So, it'll be Uno 1 Friday. And it kicks off the whole food topic that you all have asked for on this show, which I'm more than happy to do. I've just never talked about cooking on the show. I've had cookbook authors before on the show, but not a whole month worth of cooking. So you guys are going to get a lot of food people, authors and chefs, from farmers to healthy nut people. You're going to get it all. So, yeah. My aunt has been doing DVR stuff and puzzles. And my sister says she needs to learn how to cook. Well, you should know how to cook. I get the feeling that these comments are delayed. Is that what's happening here? I don't want the delay to go on too long. Facebook has been acting weird. So when it comes to doing these videos, streaming on especially Facebook. So I've noticed more and more that these comments are like really delayed. So I hope that is not the case when it comes to you guys asking your questions for the guests. So, and make sure you guys have questions. I know you do. I'm not sure if Michael's going to be able to see the comments as they come in. I'll have to find out whether he's using a laptop or a cell phone. Chris Evans, welcome. Thanks for joining. I'm about ready to bring the guest on so he can stop sitting there and just watch. Unless he's having fun watch, I don't know. I can't really tell. Maybe he is. All right, so yeah, so we'll bring him on. We'll talk to him for a little while, and then we'll go into what's happening for tomorrow and the rest of the month. I'll go into more details about it, just to let everybody know. So, and I still would like more of you to let me know what kind of topics you would like to see on the show. I know you guys have like thrown out a lot of them. I can't remember all of them. So if you would be oh so kind as to let me know what else you'd like to see or have someone talk about on the show. So yeah, throw those out. Ashley has been just hanging out. Sean, Alex, and I have been mowing and cleaning yards on the weekends. It's always fun to do yard work. So yeah, absolutely. All right, well, I'm not going to wait any longer, so I'm going to bring Michael on so we can talk to him and get this show moving. So, yeah. And like I said, make sure you post your comments. I will try to get to them and keep reading the chat room as I do. So, yeah. Hello, Michael.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm really good. A little sunburned, but really good.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Well, that's what you get from
I retired about 18 months ago. I used to be a practicing physician and retired. And boy, did that ever suck. And so my son has a landscaping business. And so he said, well, you can mow lawns for me. And so now I mow 4 or 5 lawns a day. sometimes as many as 7 or 8, sometimes as few as 3 or 4. And so I got a great tan.
There you go. Yeah, I can see the red. So I mean, I've gotten it myself today. Today, towards the end of the day, after the rain had kind of gone away, the sun came out. It kind of warmed up. But yeah, past couple of days have been really warm out this way. So I welcome the rain. It cooled it right down. So, well, thanks for joining me. Thanks for coming on, and I can't wait to talk about your books, which I can see behind you there on the shelf, which is
I
beautiful.
didn't do that on purpose. I just noticed
Oh,
that they're there.
yeah. Yeah, I can see them. It's the first thing I spotted. So cool. So yeah. So your latest book that just came out, let's talk about that one, which is
The Heretic.
yes.
The Heretic was actually the first book that I wrote, and it's the most autobiographical of them all. I practiced in northern Wisconsin in a very rural pocket way back in the hills in an Amish community. So most of my practice was house calls, visiting the Amish people and dealing with them and their holistic approach to life. It made for some really interesting encounters. And so in the Heretic, I was trained as a classical chiropractor. I went to chiropractic college and came out, an absolutely evangelical chiropractor, and moved into the woods in the north where they didn't have any need for chiropractors. What they had a need for was healthcare people.
Mm-hmm.
And in Wisconsin, they have a law called the Rural Practitioners Act, where if it comes in your office, you're responsible for it. So within the first couple of weeks, I was stitching wounds and delivering babies, and ended up having to go back to school to learn how to be, as they say, a real doctor.
Right. Yeah.
And and so as a chiropractor, I became a heretic because I no longer was just a pure and simple chiropractor. I was a amalgamation of a bunch of different things. It made for some really wonderful stories and meet some really wonderful people. And so I penned that book first,
Mm-hmm.
but the story of how I got there, how I became that chiropractor so late in life, I thought needed to be told in order for people to understand why I am so strange. And so I ended up having to write the other books first before I could let this one out.
Right. So what exactly? So it just entails how you became and what you did there. Is that where the? Well, I guess my question is why turn it into a book?
Well, it's a very, I originally started writing these stories for my children. Um, when I was uh, grown, and my father was a very difficult man to get to know, and we used to ask him all the time, "Hey, Dad, what'd you do in the war? Did you see the enemy? Did you do this? Did you do that?" My dad, I knew he was a tail gunner in World War II on a B-17 bomber, but his response was always, "If you have to talk about it, you probably weren't there." And so he would never talk about it. And then toward the end of his life, he became quite frail, and he descended into dementia. And just before he passed away, he gave me his diary. And he had kept a diary of every mission that he ever flew over North Africa, Sicily, Italy, Germany, Austria, every single mission. And just an incredibly graphic, hair raising violence, the things that would just make you, cringe. Um, for an 18 or 19-year-old boy and a whole plane full of 18 or 19-year-old boys. And his response at the end of each one of these little missions would be, in the air, 7 hours, 47 minutes. We lost the waist gunner. We lost the landing gear, came in on our belly. We go again tomorrow. And so it was really awful. Well, I realized that if I had had that information when I was younger, I would have had a much better understanding of who my father really was, because he had a hard time making connections with people. But once you read the diary, you realize that everybody that he connected with didn't go home. And so I started realizing I got drafted. I went to Vietnam. I came home a strange fellow when I got home. And I started thinking about the fact that maybe I should try to educate my children about why I'm like I am. And I started writing these small chapters about this happened to me and that's why I think this way. Or this is who I used to be. I'm not that anymore. Lucky for you. And that kind of thing. And I had a friend who was a magazine editor, and said, "Can I look at a few of those?" And she said, "You've got to turn this into a story. You've got to stretch this out. These chapters that you're writing are an adventure that everybody needs to share." And so I started stretching it out, and lo and behold, for somebody that couldn't pass English in high school, turns out I like to write. And it was fun. So first one book, then the second book, and then the third book. And it turned, and in reality, all three books are one story from beginning to end of a conglomeration of people that I knew and people that I was.
How long did it take you per book?
To write up about a year a book, just about. The first one was the hardest because it was the history of the inner city of Chicago and growing up in the ghetto and learning how to survive and things like that. And those memories were hard to relive. And for both me and my brothers and sisters, I had to find out what their take was too. And then the second book was easy, and the third one was the most personal.
Do you count by pages or words?
I don't think I really do either one. It's is it enough? I think that's the answer. Is what you're trying to say? If you've written it down, is it enough? Okay. And if it's enough, then that's the right number of pages or words. And if it's too much, then it needs to go on a diet. But I guess that's what they make editors for, hopefully.
Yeah. The only reason why I ask is because different authors, when I ask, well, how long is the book? So I have to ask either some count by words or some count by pages. So it's very hard to determine, but that was a good answer. Absolutely. So how long is the book? How many chapters are in the books?
I actually don't have any idea how many chapters. I'm sorry. Oh. The first book is about 400 pages. It's 125,000 words, and it is the longest because it takes into account the return from World War II all the way up through the Vietnam War, and it showcases an Irish Catholic family that finished the war and came to Chicago to find their fortune. And because they were a clan, they only were loyal to each other. And my dad used to always have an expression, he used to say, back to back, we'll walk out of here. Back to back, we'll get through this. And that was the way that the Irish Catholics dealt with, living in the city.
Yeah.
And so that one's a little bit longer. The rest of them are exactly the same length. They're both 95,000 words, probably about maybe 250, 275 pages a piece. Hopefully they're easy reads. Most people tell me that they read them in one sitting, so they seem to like them.
I've noticed that I read a lot of short books. I've noticed that they're usually short. There'll be like 27 chapters, but in each chapter, there's only like 3 or 4 pages. And I could read usually one a day. Absolutely. It'll tell me on my Kindle that, you can read this in 3 hours and so many minutes. So, which I don't really care, but yeah, a lot of people are going for the smaller books, I've noticed. So,
well, that's because people have the attention span of a squirrel these days. No offense, but no. It's just like television. They can only have 7 to 8 minutes of television show before they can take a break because people's attention starts to wander. And I actually had editors that told me these books are too long. Nobody will read them. Anything more than 60,000 words is too long a book. People will not buy them. Well, it's one of those things where does it either tell the story or do I want people to read it and tell me that I'm a good writer? Well, I don't care if they think I'm a good writer. I'd like it to be a good story,
right.
And I can tell you, they're good stories.
They look like it. I need to read them. So.
Well, I didn't mean to make you feel guilty about it.
Oh, no, you didn't. No. I looked them up on Amazon. Like I told you, I have been doing a lot of Kindle Unlimited. So when you borrow the books, you read them, you return them. I think it's fantastic. So that's what I've been doing anyway. So, and I know a lot of people who are watching are also grabbing books on Amazon as well. So I hope that you will grab Michael's books and start reading them. Do you plan on writing any more? Is this story kind of concluded, or can you keep going with this?
Everybody is telling me that I need to continue the tale of the clan, and the Casey clan is interesting, and people text me or write me or come up to me and say, well, what about Grandma? Aren't you going to tell any more about Grandma? Or what about Uncle Seamus? Or and so there seems to be a lot of offshoots that could come out of this, and we'll see how that develops for the future. The book as it stands right now will stand alone, or it'll dovetail into a lot more stories if I ever stop mowing lawns.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you will find the time to write. If you're a writer, then you will find time to write, I'm sure. So is there anything in particular that you're wanting readers to think about your books when they're done with them? Like what you want them to take away from it? Is there a message in there?
Absolutely. And it's a funny thing because I didn't really think there was supposed to be a message. The story is really the story of a journey of a boy who becomes a man and then finds out that the worst thing that happened to him that he feared the most was that he became his father. And that he resisted it to the point where once he accepted it, he realized that he was proud of it. and that being somebody with integrity and gravitas was something that you own, and then everything is possible after that, no matter how low you start. And uh, the way that it was written, with the father damaged by war, the son damaged by war, and then coming through that and still having value of human life and human integrity, uh, really is a story of victory. And there's an awful lot of violence, there's an awful lot of adventure, there's an awful lot of um, uh, criminal behavior, and yet these people display a tremendous amount of love for each other and value of the human spirit. So yeah, it's a story of victory beyond just substance, I think.
Okay, absolutely.
And I just pulled that out of my back pocket. So
it sounded fine to me. What was my next question? So you want to start writing a book. Did you have any idea what you would get yourself into when writing a book, and what it takes, like from the publisher to finding an editor, or were you going to self-publish? Did you know anything going into this at all?
I know that if I had known what I ended up finding out, I probably wouldn't have done it. Because I think in the course of the last 4 or 5 years, I've made almost every mistake you can possibly make. It's not to be taken lightly. And the writing part, you think is the hard part. But the truth is, the hard part is after the writing is over.
Mm-hmm.
The editing and the putting it back together and the rewriting and the finding people who will and can work with you, and see the vision that you have for the project. That's really, apparently really difficult. The self-publishing groups these days, they want marketability. They want to tell you what they're going to sell and what they're not going to sell. And so it took a while to find somebody that really saw what I was really trying to do here, which was basically just tell my children that I'm not as nuts as they think I am.
Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah. No, because I asked this question to authors and I get a different response every time. So, some have said, no, I probably would not have done this had I known what I have to go through. So, and then you get others that are like, yeah, I knew and went full in and everything's fine. So, so you've written these. Is there any chance of you writing something that is not even close to what you just, like a different genre? Would you take this further and write something different?
You mean like write something that's fun?
Well, no, I'm not saying just fun, like a different genre. I don't know, like romance or mystery or history or genres like that.
Sure. I don't know about romance. There's plenty of romance in these books, and there's plenty of history in these books too. And you can't have romance without some good sex, and so that's in there too. If you ask me, it's really hard to put them into one particular column. Anything that you write that's a really good story should cross over in different genres, I think. I love science fiction, but I don't know if I could ever really write science fiction. But romance would be fun to try. I have a friend who's a clinical psychologist at Boston, Mass, and Mass General.
Yeah.
And he just finished writing a fictional, a novel that's historical fiction, and he wrote it as a woman in Tibet. And I was absolutely blown away. He did a great job with it, really great job with it. And that would be a real challenge to accept. I don't know if I could get away with that one, but he did a great job.
That sounds very interesting. Very interesting. I'll have to look that up and see what that's all about. Yeah, because I could totally see you writing something else. The science fiction, however, I would have to probably agree with you on that one. I've dabbled. I've tried. I have a story in my head. I know what it is. I know what I want, and I attempted to write it. And I think I got 5 pages in, and it was science fiction, and I couldn't get past the technobabble that you would have to use in science fiction story to come up with names and words, alien species. How do I spell it? Where do they come from? I was having all sorts of problems. So I understand full well I would not be able, as much as I love science fiction, I just wouldn't be able to write it. So I have a feeling I'm better suited for mystery. I think a murder mystery. So I have a friend and myself that are working currently on a book. So that's, I think, the route that I'm going to go. But I could see you writing.
Yeah, I don't know how I would ever do that. And if you look at the old science fiction like Heinlein and Le Carre and those guys, they had an incredible understanding of the technology at hand, and they could turn it inside out and talk about it. And so their books were terrific. And one of the things that I liked about Heinlein the most is that even though it was science fiction, he used very little science fiction in it. He really told a story of people set in a science fiction atmosphere, Stranger in a Strange Land, and books like that, and even I, Robot. Great books.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just put the message out. If you guys, I know you guys are all just sitting there listening. So if you have any questions for Michael, now is the time to start answering your questions. I probably have asked all the good questions. I would hope I have. But still, post some questions. So are you able to see the comments on your side?
Me, you mean?
Yes.
Yes, I can see them.
Oh, perfect.
I was looking at Kayla Fallon and her name, and I had dinner with a woman named Fallon last evening from the Midwest, of course. I don't imagine she's from the Midwest, but Fallon is not a very common name. And so it was a bit of deja vu right there.
Was Fallon her first name or last?
Last name.
Oh, how interesting. No. So Kayla is not from that is my sister. So I know she is not from the Midwest. But yeah, it's not a last name you hear. Well, I hear it too much for Fallon Health. I think we have around here somewhere.
Oh, okay. Well,
other than that,
I for a long time I did many other things, and didn't have any sort of a awakening, so to speak, until I was in my mid-30s and decided that I would go to school to become a healthcare practitioner. And I went to school, and of course, when I went to post-grad school after I'd finished the prereqs and everything, I was in an advanced age in my mid-30s. And there was another fellow there, Jim Fallon, who had also put in 20 years at the phone company after his time in the Army. So we were two really old farts in our mid to late 30s, and who sat in the back of the class because all of the young people were miles ahead of us because they knew how to study, they knew how to, and they just moved right over from their bachelor's degrees. And so we, back then, we literally sat in grad school in healthcare, becoming doctors, and sat in the back of the room, drank coffee, smoked cigarettes, and made fun of the instructors. And so my friend Jim and I both practiced for almost 40 years, and then he passed away. And so just last year, and so I was having dinner with his widow, who is a really good friend of mine, and we had some high times, the two of us.
Yeah, sounds fun. Absolutely. So why a chiropractor?
Well, I'll tell you what. A lot of my relatives thought the same thing because they were all regular doctors. But the truth is that when I came out of the service, I was a machinist, and I worked in a machine shop, and they sent me back to school to become an engineer, and I got my bachelor's degree in engineering, and became a machine tool technology expert, and went to work for the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. And I worked for the NRC until 1978 at 3 Mile Island. When 3 Mile Island leaked, the NRC, of course, was defunded by Jimmy Carter, and the Atomic Energy Commission was shut down, and I was out of work. I was also, by the way, one of the first people that was allowed in the containment unit at 3 Mile Island in order to determine why the leak had occurred. It was a Henry Pratt valve that was supposed to be remotely operated to open and shut, and somebody had put a manual valve handle on it to shut it off, and so they couldn't shut it off from outside the containment unit. And so once it started to leak, it was a shutdown. So in 1979, I was one of the first people that got to go in and find out. But I was still out of work. And so I took my separation money and decided that I really wanted to do something where I could help people more than I was. And I couldn't get into med school anymore because I was already too old. So I did take the MCATs, but they thought I was too old to go. And the waiting line was too long, and I could get into chiropractic school right away.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, I just wanted to know. Let's see here. Let's see. Does he have?
I can tell Amber a funny story if you like.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. That was the question.
Let's see. As a chiropractor, I was always a second-class citizen when it came to a lot of the healthcare providers. In fact, back then, the nursing profession didn't think much of chiropractors, and the old doctors didn't either. The young doctors thought we were okay. And I had a patient, I'll call her Ruth, who was one of the most cantankerous things you ever met in your life. She was a school teacher from the old days. She'd never married. She lived in her mother's house after her mother passed away, and she didn't take any crap from anybody. And so when she would come in the office, she would always come in the same way. She never had an appointment. She just expected to be seen when she came in the door. And she always came in dragging this oxygen tank on a little cart with wheels, and she had the hose off of the oxygen tank that went up her nose so that she could breathe. She was an incredibly heavy smoker, and so she would have to take the oxygen cannula out of her nose and put it on top of her head while she smoked. And then when she was done, she'd put her oxygen back in. And I would tell her every time, you got to quit smoking, Ruth. You got to quit smoking, Ruth. And she'd say, I won't live 1 minute more. It'll just seem like it. Well, at one point, she finally got to the point where she couldn't stay at home anymore. and she was going to have to go into a nursing home. And so she sold the house, sold her car, and went into the nursing home. But she still demanded that I come and see her once a week at the nursing home. Well, the nursing home had this nurse, and this is no kidding. Everybody in town called her Nurse Ratchet behind her back, because she was the meanest thing on the planet, and she had zero time for me. So I would go see Ruth, and we would have lunch in the lunchroom every Friday afternoon, and we would play gin. And then I'd go outside with Ruth so that she could smoke a cigarette, winter, summer, spring, or fall. And it went on that way for quite a while. And then one night in the middle of the night, the phone rang, and I was kind of used to the phone ringing at night because I did a lot of house calls. Well, this time it was one of the young docs from town. And he said, "Hey, Mike, we got a problem. Ruth has fallen out of bed, and she says that she's thrown her back out and she can't get to sleep, and there's only one way she's going to get to sleep, and that we got to get you in here. And I'm really sorry to bother you, but do you can you please, because she's waking everybody up. She's making a hell of a mess." And I said, sure. Just give me a little bit. I'll get up, get dressed. I'll come on in. So I got dressed and went into town, and there's Ruth making a racket and, trying to order everybody around and all of this stuff. And we got her settled down and taken care of and tucked into bed and turned out the light. It was about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And so we went down to the nurse's station at the front of the hallways there. And this young doc, he sat down in the nurse's chair, put his feet up, and he was in his scrubs, and he looked like he'd been drugged through a knothole. He was tired, and, he'd been up all night. And we were drinking crappy coffee that had been on the heater for a while, and just kind of, I was leaning on the counter, and he was just sitting there. And all of a sudden, here comes Nurse Ratchet. And she comes up, and she gives me the look like, if she could drop me right on the spot, she would have been glad to. And she says to the young guy, she says, "Doctor, we have a problem." And he goes, "Well, what is it?" And she says, "Well, Ruth got out of bed. She went across the hall and she got into bed with Mr. Jones. What do you want me to do?" Well, Doc looks at me and he looks at her and he goes, "Close the door."
Oh, Lord.
So those are the kind of stories that, are fun practice things. Some of them are tragic, some of them are harrowing, and some of them are just flat out funny. So yeah, and some of the best ones are in the Heretic.
I was just about to say you should have written just a book of all these stories you had. So let's see. Daniel Payton wants to know, was there any issues working with the Amish? Religious issues, cultural issues?
Oh my, absolutely. Well, the really great thing about the Amish is that they have a real basic understanding that you eat healthy, live healthy, you stay healthy. And they have a very simple lifestyle. The cultural issues were mostly between the clash of cultures between the English, which are the people that lived in the area, and their prejudices against many of the Amish ways, which they thought made them seem less worthy. But from a standpoint of their honesty and their integrity, you never want to have people that are more straightforward and more honest with dealings and things like that, and so incredibly appreciative. But one of the things that was always a challenge, I would go on house calls for the entire day. I would be gone from sun up to sunset, and I would come home and I'd have 2 loaves of bread a pound of Spätzle noodles, a couple of dozen eggs, hog liver, and $13. And it was quite a challenge for my young wife, who was a city girl before she moved there, to take it all in.
Mm.
So yeah, those kinds of things were common and pretty often. But I just got a letter. As a matter of fact, I just got a letter this week that came to the office, and it was addressed to, I hope it's that Dr. Nelson. And it was from an Amish fellow who now lives in Iowa. And a long time ago, he had lived just down the road from me. And so he would always raise our Thanksgiving turkey for us. And so one year I asked him if he would wait until right at the end to butcher the turkey so it'd be really fresh when I came to pick it up. Well, he said, absolutely. And you only want one? And I said, yeah, I'd sure would. I'd take another one. And he said, okay, you got it. So we went on the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, and he handed me this turkey that weighed 48 pounds. And it was completely dressed, plucked, and everything else. And it still weighed 48 pounds. So
Wow.
I got a letter from him just this week asking me if I want another turkey. I'm not sure I want to say yes.
That's a big bird. My goodness.
I would think that one would put up a pretty good fight.
Yeah, I would hope so, anyways. So, does anyone have any other questions? So, is there places where people can find your books? Obviously, I've already posted the Amazon where they can find it. Is there any other place that people can find
Barnes and Noble, but it's on a lot of the like Smashwords and Goodreads and different things like that. And there's a flash sale, I guess, that starts tomorrow, where it's going to be 99 cents for a while. I am experimenting with that. We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
So that'll be fun.
Yeah. It's always fun to hear. I'm assuming that's Amazon that does the 99 cents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
For the Kindle or?
For the Kindle. Yeah.
So a lot of people are using Kindles now, so I know I am.
Well, they're real handy, I guess. It's a new thing for me, but I got a 7-year-old grandson that's pretty adept with them.
Yeah. Very easy to read. So yeah, I like my Kindle very much. So, and I'm pretty sure that I've got a lot of people here involved with reading as well, considering the amount of authors that I've had on my show. So that's also a plus, and it's also got me reading. So last question I always ask every guest, with this whole thing with COVID-19 and everything, and most of us have stayed home or now have time on our hands. Is there anything that you catch yourself doing that you probably wouldn't do because now you have all this time on your hands? Any bad habits?
I mean, well, I start cocktail hour a lot sooner.
Okay. That's not a bad thing.
So. No. I can't believe that I waited so long to start that habit.
Okay. That's it? Nothing else?
Well, I got to tell you, I don't go in the city much, and I didn't used to very much anymore. But now I got a really good excuse to not go into the city much, and so I've found that I'm a lot more comfortable being away from people.
Yeah.
And I guess that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Unfortunately, I work in customer service, so I'm around people every day. Some days, like today and tomorrow, I'm glad I am away from, the city. So, yes, I agree 100%. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I hope that you come on again. So I'm pretty sure you'll write something. We'll talk again, I'm sure. So, and I hope so.
All right.
Uh,
And tell your friend Chris that I'll send him half the turkey if I get one.
Chris Evans. There you go, Chris. Right in. You're still working on the leftovers. There you go. If anyone has any questions after the fact, because I know most of the time people watch these things after, excuse me, it's the internet, so they never disappear. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to pass them along to Michael and have him answer them for you. So, do you have a Facebook? Are you on social media at all?
Yes, sir. I am actually. I have Michael Deeze has a Facebook page, and it's fairly active, and that's a good one. And there's also a website, michaeldeezebooks.com, that has a link that you can get to me on as well.
Awesome. Actually, I think I knew about the Facebook one because I think I tagged you. I'm not sure. But I will posting all of those on our page so people have easy access to them. That way you can go and check out these books and buy them. Why? Because you want to. So just do it. Just buy it and read them. And I don't know what you think.
I just hope people like them. That's all I really care about.
You know, I'll be honest, I have not started reading them, but I will. I've read the descriptions. I think I'm going to enjoy myself. So I will let you know. I'll totally let you know.
I hope so.
So, yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, Brian.
You're welcome. So, again, thank you for coming on and talking about these fantastic books that I can't wait to read. And I'm sure like I said, I'll be talking to you again. So, absolutely. So that is.
And you don't look gray. You don't look gray at all.
I don't know what my sister was talking about. So, yeah, I am graying, but this light does not. Whatever. Anyways, so I'll take that as a compliment.
You know, sisters will do that to you.
I got too many of them. So that's the problem. So, all right, everyone, thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to like and share this video. Go onto his page, Michael Deeze on Facebook. He's on Amazon. The link is right there on my Facebook page. So you'll know where to get those books. No excuses. And my sister's saying have a cocktail for her. So, okay. There you go.
That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Kayla is also thanking you for coming on. And yeah, that's all she wrote. So, all right, that's it.
All right, sir.
I'm going to
Thank
go.
you.
Well, thank you.
Right. All right. Well, good evening to you, and I appreciate it.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye. So there you have it. Michael Deeze was a fantastic guest to talk to, right? Absolutely. I know you will agree with me. So it's been a very interesting night. I'm very tired. I'm tired. So excuse me. But yeah. Oh, Daniel, goodbye. Oh, my grandmother's saying it's a good show. Thank you so much. My grandmother's supporting. I'm going to put it right up there. Look at that. My grandmother's commenting on my show. Daniel Payton, good night to you, and thanks for everyone for watching. And I know a lot have already left because normally I just click it over and I don't continue talking, but I will wait until tomorrow. So I will see you all tomorrow at the same time, and we're going to talk food. It's going to be foodie-licious, to say the least. So I hope you will join me and our guest. So I'm very excited to talk food now. So, all right, that is it. So I want everyone to have a fantastic. Oh no, I'll see you tomorrow. So don't have a fantastic weekend. You still have to be with me tomorrow. So yeah, that's about it. So thank you again to Michael Deeze for coming on and talking about the Heretic and the other books that he has written. You can find them on Amazon, and you can locate him on Facebook by just typing in Michael Deeze, Deeze. How easy is that, right? All right, so goodbye to my aunts and sisters and Chris and Daniel Payton. Yeah, thanks for watching. That's it. I'm going to go now and do what? I have no idea. Plan tomorrow's show. That's what I'm going to do. So, all right, I got to go. Did everyone see Mickey just chilling back there? I have a giant Mickey in my chair in my living room. So I just noticed he was sitting there this whole time. You're creepy. He's creepy. All right, goodbye. I got to go.